Hey, it's Eliza. We're going to start our analysis now. Last chance to go and play it before I ruin it for you. Too late. I'm gonna ruin it. Oh no, it's gonna be ruined.
I had a dream this morning, but I can't remember what it was. It all vanished when the alarm went off. First time that's happened in a while. I've been drifting away inside my own world for too long. It's time for me to wake up.
Classic opening, hero wakes up. Basic stuff, right? I'm not a fan of the first 15 minutes of this game. We'll talk about why. It's not so bad that, it makes the game bad, but it's average. And compared to the rest of the game, that is amazingly weak. Fortunately, the voice actresses are all great. What are you supposed to do on the light rail? Use your phone, I guess, or look around. Evelyn's internal voice is going to be male because I only have one voice actor available. So here we're learning how to interact with this kind of scene. We can click on some stuff. We can use our phone.
Next stop, Capitol Hill Station.
None of this stuff matters in a mechanical sense. This is a kinetic novel. It does not matter whether we click on this lady or leave her unclicked. But allowing us to click on these things allows us to see what Evelyn sees and hear her thoughts on the matter. It connects us to Evelyn as a character, so that we understand what sort of person she is. Speaking of which, let's take a look at her phone. We have 3 emails. The game sort of goes back to January 1st. This is an easy trick. If your timetable starts on the 1st of the year, people are going to remember that. People are going to be able to tell how much time has passed. Here we have a wonderful email from a friend. You will do it. I believe in you. Wait, that's our name. We sent ourselves this email. And then immediately afterwards, we got invited to orientation as a Skanda contractor on January 3rd. But then here is an email that plays triple duty. This is a brilliant email. It seems like it's a throwaway email, but it's really, really well done. First off, it's from January 6th, so we know that orientation is already passed. Second, it tells us another character point. We're the sort of character that makes a gym membership and then doesn't go to the gym. And third, it tells us that it's been a long time since we got off our ass and did something. So that all is combining to give us a sense of who this character is and that she may have been going through some hard times recently. Eliza, powered by Skanda. It's so strange to see it like this. I love this line. It immediately implies that we've seen it like something else, and we're not just some rando showing up at a new job. There's something else going on here. What should I be doing here? Oh, there's the woman I met at orientation.
Hi, you're Evelyn, right?
This is Ray. There are 5 or so major NPCs in this game, and they all pull double or triple duty. Ray's job is to humanize Skanda. And I don't mean that as in, like her actual in-world job. I mean her narrative job is to humanize Skanda. Skanda is a huge multinational conglomerate, and if nobody had been here to put a face on it, then it would have remained a huge multinational conglomerate. If you're only going to learn one thing from this writer, you should learn that all of your characters need to pull the narrative forward. Not in a here's a sword kind of way, but in an emotional way. Ray's job is to humanize the corporation that's going to play such a large role in our narrative. Every line that she has during this sequence does exactly that. It exists solely to put a human face on Skanda. That said, this intro is really weak. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second.
You remember me? That's impressive. There were a lot of people at that orientation.
Here we're learning that Skanda is a booming business. Skanda is growing fast. Eliza is growing fast. We're one of many.
Of course. I've done this for a while now, so I'm pretty good at putting names to faces. People always say they're bad at it, but it's a skill you can practice just like any other. In case you forgot though, I'm Ray. Come to me with all your questions, comments, complaints, whatever. And if you look around and can't find me, I'm probably at one of the other 2 counseling centers I'm running right now. So you can count on me being back soon.
3 centers. Sounds like a lot of work.
Oh, it is a lot of work. This is kind of a temporary thing. We're growing fast, and hiring is one of our big challenges. That means there's decent opportunity for advancement here, if that's something you're looking to do.
Here we're given our first choice. Choices in this game are mechanically unimportant. This is a kinetic novel. These choices do not mechanically matter. They do not cause the game to toggle a certain story on or off or anything like that. But they're still important because they tell us who Evelyn is. We can see the sorts of things Evelyn is considering and the sorts of things she's willing to do. We also get to project onto her some veneer, some path of our own choosing. So if you can see a forking road, we can choose which fork to go down, and that lets us sort of empathize with her. This is a very powerful mechanic, and a lot of times people get stuck on this idea that you should have a yes and a no, or a renegade and a paragon. But in many cases, it's not about what the choices are, it's about what the choices aren't. Notice that she doesn't have a yes. She doesn't even really have a no. She just has a kind of general hedge and a slightly negative hedge. From this we can tell that she's not interested in getting anywhere. She's not here to be successful. She's just here.
Interesting.
Shall we start with a quick tour of the
So,
office?
this is a real obvious reveal, this next sequence. This is a huge reveal that the writer has never written a visual novel before, not in a professional sense. There are 2 incredibly large mistakes. The first mistake is the nature of this opening, where we're brought in as a new hire, and then we take a long time humanizing things and setting up what's going to happen. The reason I think that they went with this intro is because it's the same intro they always use in all of their games. But in all of their other games, there is some play meat. There are puzzles to do. And the intro sequence gives you the easiest puzzles. So yeah, you show up on your first day at work, here's some easy puzzles. There's no puzzles in this. There's no meat to dig my teeth into. Without play to dig my teeth into, I need something else to be my anchor. And that's usually characters in a visual novel. Now, the characters in this game are fantastic, starting at the half-hour point. Right now, they're not really being anybody I care about. There's nothing that's making me fall in love with any of these characters. I don't really care about the setting, and that's really a major, major flaw in a VN. And that's why this intro is not very good. I mean, it's not terrible. It's kind of average. But compared to the writing as it is later, this is a big misstep. And I was like, when I played this far and a little bit further, I was like, okay, this is their first VN, so I can cut them some slack. It's not bad. But the rest of the game is so good that this intro stands out as bizarrely poorly done. That's kind of interesting to me. The other major problem that they have is they've clearly never, I say they, we know who it was, this one guy. The other thing he did is he took the characters off the screen.
You could say the Queen Anne office is Eliza's flagship location.
This is a major no-no. You do not want to remove the portraits from your visual novel unless there is a plot reason for doing so, or you're telling a joke or something. We connect with the visuals. If the visuals aren't there, we're not connecting. This is an extremely bad idea. If you are making a visual novel, don't take the characters off the screen and then have them talk, unless the point is that we can't see them. Fortunately, there is voice acting in this game. All the voice acting is great. I don't know who the voice director was because it's not its own credit, but the voice director did a great job. All of these voice actors know exactly what to do, and they deliver their lines perfectly. And that's the only reason that I kept playing, because watch. Imagine that you couldn't hear, and this was completely silent text.
It has 12 individual counseling rooms. Currently, we're up to seeing almost 100 clients a day here.
100 a day? That's so many.
The growth trend isn't stopping either. Demand for Eliza keeps exceeding our expectations, especially here in Seattle for whatever reason. We're already looking at adding more capacity here. Either that or opening another location close by. Personally, I think having a single office with 24 counseling rooms might seem a little unfriendly, so I hope we go for a second location. I like to think of Eliza centers like cafes or coffee shops. A few small ones is better than one big one.
That was a lot of text with nobody to look at. So this just goes to show that no matter how good you are, there's something that you're probably going to be bad at. This writer is very, very talented, very, very skilled, but he still screwed up the intro because he's never made a professional VN before. I imagine that if we see another VN from this studio, we won't see this issue. The intro will probably work really well because he'll now see the weakness and not do it again. Hopefully. Notice that our choices are even less diverse this time.
Makes sense.
Ray leads me into one of the counseling rooms.
And here's where the magic happens, in these little rooms. You'll get your assignments from the Eliza app.
Now,
on your
I think
phone.
that the reason they removed Ray from the screen was because you can't put Ray's original sprite into this room. It would be weird. She'd be a little tiny character next to this huge chair. But that's no reason to remove her before we get to this room. So, you know.
Oh, one thing to note, it's always a good idea to double check the headset to make sure it's working properly before you dive
She's
in.
still humanizing the experience. She's still showing us that this is not a slick operation, a faceless corporation. This is something that's very human, has human foibles and human desires. That said, we can't check the headset, and nothing ever goes wrong with the headsets, so it's still very much a fluff line.
We've had some quality control issues lately. After that, all you need to do is initiate the session and follow the instructions. Make sense so far? Any questions for me?
I think I got it.
Great. Before I go, just a few reminders of things we covered in orientation.
Never a good line for a game that does not require a tutorial. Just as a reminder, there's no gameplay in this game. We do not need to be reminded of how to do it because we literally have no choice in the matter. We could not do it wrong if we tried.
No deviating from the script that
But this
Eliza
does
gives you.
explain what our in-world job is. We are the face for our robot, for a program.
No checking your smartphone or anything else that would take your attention away from the client during the session.
Yes, I understand.
It looks like you're dressed acceptably as well. Nothing snazzy, but it'll
Really?
do.
Like a denim jacket over a hoodie is acceptable? Have I combed my hair in the past week? It doesn't look like it. But we're acceptably dressed. That's fine. It's just kind of funny to see.
You wouldn't believe the outfits some people come
In
into
Seattle?
wearing.
No.
Okay, let me double check to make sure you're all set up in the system. Yep, looks like you're all good to go. Okay, ready to start your first counseling session as an Eliza proxy?
Sure.
Don't worry, there's basically nothing you can do to mess it up. You just follow the prompts. It's a really impressive system. If you want, have a look around the counseling office first. Get comfortable. I'll check in with you afterward.
And here we're back in the counseling office where we can now click on things. So last time we used Swift Mail, this time we're using Eliza Mail. Thank you for signing up as an Eliza proxy. Proxy Coordination Center. It's just kind of an overview of what we're doing in case you wanted to know. Eliza is much as you might expect, a program that gives that feeds lines into a conversation. So it listens to whoever is talking and then responds. And we are the face. So our job is to simply read out whatever Eliza tells us to read. And they're telling us that we are not allowed to do anything else. We must only stick to the script. Now, we could continue here, but it has been 15 minutes, and this first session deserves its own video because it nearly made me turn the game off. I don't want to call it a misstep, but that we'll have to leave it until its own video because it's a little complicated.